guys, and welcome to A Kinda Crafty Kenzie. I'm Kenzie. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you decide to stick around and join my YouTube family by hitting that subscribe button down below. And if you like videos like this, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps my channel grow. So today I'm going to show you how to make a door and a window out of some old scrap materials that you may have had from other projects or just some things you have lying around home, and how to jazz them up with some Christmas decor. So let's go. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need is just some way to make an 8x10 frame. You can either use pieces of wood that you have and you can piece them together, or in this case, this is just one of Dollar Tree's stretched canvas frames that the canvas has been removed from. My girls actually, I think, had it and drew something on it, and then they didn't want it, so I ripped it apart. Anyways, so then I just took these yardsticks that you can get at Dollar Tree, Dollar General, wherever. And it's just something that I think there was a Santa Claus on one and a Christmas tree on one that I used in other projects. So I had these, stakes laying around. So I just measured these where I wanted them to lay on the frame, cut them, and then went ahead and glued them.
I've been happier than I have ever been. It's safe to say that my love for you is true. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for me and you. I've longed for this moment to have you for myself, in a cabin out in nowhere, just us and no one else. I've decorated everything till we're perfect for this week. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for you and me. Cause all I wanna do is spend this holiday with you. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for me and you. I've longed for this moment to have you for myself, in a cabin out in nowhere.
So I knew that hot glue alone was not going to hold this. So I went ahead and got my staple gun and put a few staples in. And then my husband, it was so sweet, and bought me a little toolkit that is all pink tools. So I finally got to use my little pretty pink hammer. But anyways, yeah, so then I just hammered the nails down, obviously, because it was in wood, so it didn't go through really easily. And I don't really know what I was trying to do with that middle piece, you guys. To be really honest, I was super distracted. My husband was home, sick from work, and really getting on my nerves, and my girls were running around because they virtual learn. So it's just, oh man, it's chaos sometimes, and I don't know. But anyways, so I just went ahead and finished stapling the pieces in and then pounded it in. So all those staples, I think it's gonna hold okay. So I was gonna paint this really, really light with chalk paint. I was just gonna go really sporadic and let that natural wood shine through. But then I remembered that the middle is already like painted white for those yard stakes. So I just went ahead and gave it 2 really good coats and thought I would distress it later with paint. So after I had that all painted and it had dried, I went ahead and took my chalk paint in the color Java. It's a really nice dark brown that I love to use to distress. I really love like the white and then the dark over top of it. Some people do it in reverse, but this is my favorite way to do it. But that is my all-time favorite distressing brush. It was so cheap. It was either 79 or 75 cents at Walmart, or it was at the Dollar Tree for $1. I've bought the more expensive ones like the chipping brushes or even like the chalk paint brushes that you can use to do this, but I don't know, this brush like does the best job. So I always make sure that I don't use it for anything but that way it lasts as long as it can. But anyways, so yeah, I just went through and I just went ahead and went over it. I like to go around the edges of like the the window, I guess you could call it now, you know, like on the edges and the corners, and go darker and a little more bold, and then just kind of lightly dry brush over the rest of it.
And as I walk outside, hear the Christmas choir sing, Merry Christmas to you. Snow is falling down, all the colored lights lighting up this.
So once I was satisfied with the way that looked, I went ahead and set it aside and just let it dry on its own, and thought I would move on to the door. So for part of the door, I did use one of the Dollar Tree signs. This is one of the bigger ones that they have. It's not super long, but it's nice and wide and flat and doesn't have like a ton of like weird shapes to work with. So I just went ahead and gave that 2 good coats of the white chalk paint, and I did use my heat gun in between coats to help it dry, to move it along. You guys, I just got the heat gun within this past week, I think, and it has been awesome. I literally was like, where have you been my whole crafting life? I am never, ever, ever getting rid of you, ever. So this is what I am going to use for like my frame of my door. You don't have to have something like this. I just happen to have this as like scrap in my shed. You could absolutely use jumbo popsicle sticks. You could use shims. You could use another picture frame like in the first project. You could use the paint stir sticks that like Home Depot and Lowe's sells. I just happen to have this, like I said. It was part of a DVD. It was a cabinet that I kept like DVDs in, and this was actually a door. Now, what the cool thing is this is only half of the door, and I have 2 cabinets, and they each had 2 doors. Where I'm cutting this for this middle piece of the sign to go down into, that was actually tempered glass. So my husband removed the glass for me, and then he cut the door in half. So realistically, I have the material to make 7 more doors because I only used half of the original door. You see what I'm saying? But anyways, not that I'm going to make 7 more doors. I'm just saying I can get so much out of that, because when we got rid of the towers, when we kind of changed up our living room, I said, we call them towers. I don't know why I call them a tower. It's a cabinet. So when we got rid of them, I said, do not get rid of those. I guarantee you they'll come in handy one day. And voila. So anyways, you saw me cut that sign up like crazy. I did not throw the other pieces away. I definitely kept them for another project that you will see here eventually. But that's what I wanted to tell you guys. You did not have to have a sign quite that large. It just happened to be the sign that I had that was long enough. It was actually even a little too long. I had to trim it down, and it worked perfectly to slide in there. It was nice and flat. So anyways, all I'm doing here is just drawing some lines. I'm going to go ahead and do my super high-tech shiplap technique here, where I just draw a pencil line and then smear it with my fingers. And then I just slide it down. You're going to see that I absolutely had to trim this a little bit, but once it's all trimmed, it fits perfectly.
Kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you. Ooh, 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 ooh. And in a while we're gonna go inside and drink our chocolate by the fire. 'Cause all I want is to spend this day with you. Let me give you a Christmas moment we'll fill with love and joy. Love and so beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you, with you. I don't need any presents as long as
So after I had that sign all tucked in there, fitting good and trimmed down and everything, and was satisfied, I went ahead and slid this end piece back on and put some hot glue on it. It definitely would have fell right back off, because when I would pick the door up, or, you know, the frame up, that piece did fall off because we had cut it in order to be able to slide backing into it, so it didn't stay. So I just went ahead and gave it some hot glue, and then when I attached it back on, I gave it another strip of hot glue. You don't have to worry about any ugly hot glue marks because we're going to cover that up here in just a second. So here I'm just taking some of like the medium-sized craft sticks. I get them at the Dollar Tree. They're not the little small ones, but they're not the big ones. So I call them like the medium ones, kind of like the more normal ones you see, I think. I don't know. But so I'm just going to go ahead and cut those down. I don't know why I felt the need to use miter shears. I got to totally use scissors for that. But so I cut them down, sanded them up a little bit, and literally just put them into the shape of a square. I was kind of confused on what my brain, I don't know. I think I was just getting tired and I couldn't get it to click right. So my husband had to come show me exactly what I was trying to do. What I'm trying to do here is go ahead and make the barn door look with like the X, you know what I mean? You'll see. It all works out perfect, but I just couldn't get it to click right. So he had to come and like make it all make sense. So once it finally clicked, all I did was go ahead and glue those together to make a square, and then I went ahead and glued those to the bottom of the door.
Under the mistletoe, while Santa's busy saying ho ho ho, we're feeling jolly, eating Christmas cake, and then we go skating on the frozen lake, saying hi to every friendly face, and later we warm up by the fireplace.
So after I had that all ready to go, I went ahead and took one of these super jumbo size craft sticks that you can get at Walmart. I think you get like 45 in a pack. I can't remember exactly how much they are though, but they are super inexpensive. So I just marked it where I wanted to cut it. I'm kind of using this as like I don't even know what you would call this. Kind of like where the door splits in half. I don't know the technical word, but after I had it fitted where it needed to go and sized perfect, then I went ahead and just sanded it so it wasn't really rough looking. And then I'm just going to go ahead and paint this in white chalk paint along with the little bottom, like the barn door with the X too.
Last year I thought about how things can come around just like that if everyone is here to celebrate one day. We have our ups and downs, but when there's love there's always a way. And oh, this time of year we come together to celebrate. Yes, every time the snow is falling down and it is cold outside, we gather around the fireplace and no one cares about yesterday. My favorite holiday.
So after I got those all painted, then I just went ahead and painted like the door frame. It was obviously black. I needed to make it white. I did do 2 coats because I wanted to cover up that black pretty good. I am going to distress it, but I didn't want it in black. So then I just went ahead and popped in the little handmade pieces that I just did, and they fit perfect, and you'll see it looking more and more like a door here in a second.
Think about how I'm so lucky to have a place that I can come home to. Yes, I am on my way. We'll put our differences aside and just enjoy this moment
So this handle was actually off of an old like sugar canister I had. I removed quite a few of them, so I had a few, and this was the last one I had. So I just went ahead and attached it to kind of give it that older door look, and I think it looks perfect. It was already distressed because I did have it on something before, but then I just went back and I put a little bit more white to it. Then I went ahead and grabbed my favorite distressing brush and my chalk paint in Java and distressed this barn door. I did the same technique that I did on my window, where I go a little heavier on the edges and like on the seams, I guess you could say, and then just dry brushed it everywhere else.
Yes, every time the snow is falling down and it is cold outside, we gather around the fire.
So as you can see, where mommy is and Renna usually isn't far away, and the other two definitely are pretty close to my side all the time. Also, I've been a stay-at-home mom for 10.5 years now, so they're pretty used to mommy being right there all the time, and I really don't even know what I would do with myself if they weren't there all the time, especially now that we're doing remote learning. They've been home since March. Trust me though when I say I could use a day, if you know what I mean. But anyways, I have to craft like right in my dining room right now because I don't have a craft room. So we are working on getting like a she shed installed, put in, built, I don't know, maybe in the spring, hopefully. I don't think that'll keep the girls out. I think they'll still be right in the shed with me, but at least it'll keep the mess and everything out of the dining room. So after I had both the window and the door nice and distressed, it was time to add the Christmas touch to them. I knew that I wanted to be able to use the door and the window all year round in my home and just change out the embellishments with the season. So anything that I wanted to make, I knew that I didn't want to have to attach it directly to either of them. So I kept that in mind with the ideas that I wanted to do. So I went ahead and just took some of this garland ties that you can get from Dollar General or Dollar Tree. They're both $1, and I think you get 12 in each pack for $1, so they're pretty much identical. Some people say that the Dollar Trees are the Dollar General are a little bit better quality than the Dollar Tree. I honestly don't see that. The only thing I've noticed is that the Dollar Tree sheds a little bit more, like when you're working with it, or especially if you cut it. But honestly, it's not a big enough, like a significant difference for me to even tell you which ones are what. So then I just took some of this berry garland and just wrapped it around the wreath. I thought that a wreath hanging from the window was super farmhouse, that it would be perfect for this window.
I've been hanging marbles in the tree, and I've lit my house with Christmas lights, so you should come back home to me. And when we wake up in the morning, I'm gonna play those carols that you love. We'll be singing all the melodies until the sun comes up. These are the good times with you, baby. This year it's just gonna be you and me. Hang by the fire and chill. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, and I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, oh, la da da da, oh.
So I had made a mini wreath like this a couple videos ago, where I had taken the letter M, which is the first initial of our last name, and I colored it in with a red paint marker and did stitching in black. I didn't want the red on this wreath. I didn't really care for the color that much, so I just went ahead and colored a new one in white, and then I did add some black stitching to it, which you'll see me do here in a little bit. But then I decided to take a piece of the Dollar Tree's nautical rope, and I'm sure you know the trick where you can like unbraid it and the edges are really fray. Is that a word? Fray? I might have just made that up. But anyways, I love that look. It's super rustic to me, and like that little bit of unfinished look, I just think can make something look awesome. Like it's super farmhouse, like I said, super rustic. So that's exactly what I did. I just went ahead and tied it to the frame of the window and kind of cut the ends a little bit. And then with the rest of it, I just made a little bow, and like the tails are real fray. You'll see, there's me with that word again, but you'll see what that looks like here in a second.
Everyone knows that Christmas should be white. Bing Crosby got that right. Oh, but I'm in Copacabana, tanning up for Santa. But I'm getting on a plane, a boat, or a train. I'm setting a new course, bearing straight due north. Santa, hold on.
So here I just took my black paint marker and added the stitching. I think it's such a cute little like finishing touch that you can do to like completely change the face of something that's kind of plain. And then you'll just see me attach the letter and my little rustic bow to the wreath.
I'm not gonna leave you alone with all the nails. Hold on, Santa, I'm on my way. Let me tell you about old Saint Nick and me, as tight as can be. It's been that way forever. Guess we're shapes that go together. Everyone can use a little vacation, even if life on the North Pole is cool. But don't worry, my dear hubby, I'm making my way home to you. So Santa, hold on. Santa, hold on. I'm not gonna leave you hanging by yourself. Santa, hold on. Santa, hold on.
So I wanted to do the same kind of theme with the door because obviously I want them to match. I was going to do a swag, but I only had 3 garland ties left, and I didn't feel that was enough, that they didn't look thick enough. They looked really sparse. So I just went ahead and decided to do another wreath, and I had every intention to go ahead and use that Santa face over there. I was really kind of just working on a whim here. I wasn't 100% sure exactly what I wanted to do with it because I really wanted to do a swag. I might end up going back and changing it, but I don't know. We'll see. Once I get all my decor out and everything decorated, who knows? It could change. But for now, we're going to go with the wreath. Now, obviously, I couldn't tie the wreath like around the door here because there wasn't a way to do that. So I did attach it with a little piece of the craft stick that I had laying there left over, and I did hot glue it down. If anything, I could just cut the twine or pull the craft stick off. It's not permanent, it'll be fine. So I do recommend that before you attach your wreath to it, to wrap your garland around it first. I don't know why. I think I was just excited to get it on there, and I was having a bit of a difficult time doing this. I pulled on it so much it did end up breaking, which was fine. I just reattached it, but I did wrap the red garland around it, and then I went ahead and added some white.
It was the night.
So like I said, I wanted to attach that Santa, but as I played with it and moved it around, I decided, nope, it just doesn't work for me. So I went back to the old rustic natural look. That just must be my thing, guys. So I took one of these cute little bows that I got at the Dollar General. You get like 6 for $1. They're already pre-made. That's perfectly fine with me. I went ahead and ducktailed the ends to shorten them up a little bit. And then I decided to use some pine cones instead, so that this wreath then just had like that nice red and black buffalo check look. It had some red and white in the wreath, and then the nature of like the pine cones. I don't know what it is about like using natural or Mother Nature, I guess you could say, to kind of spruce up my decor. That must be the country girl in me, because that seems to be the route that I always go.
From this Christmas
got this pack of pine cones from the Dollar Tree. I usually get my pine cones from my backyard, but I had purchased these back in the fall. So they were scented with cinnamon still, and they smelled so good. But I used 2 bigger ones to kind of do there in the right hand corner to kind of set off the balance of like the bow being bigger at the top and then a little bit of something bigger at the bottom. My brain is so symmetrical that I just feel like everything has to be balanced. And then I just went ahead and put in a couple of the small ones around the rest of the wreath.
And somehow we knew that we'd found something true, and that everything would change from now on.
I am so satisfied with the way these 2 DIYs turned out. I have to say, I kind of surprised myself. I didn't know if I was going to be able to make a door, and it actually looked like a door in the end, but it does. And I'm so excited. I'm so proud. But I love these, you guys. Not only do you have a really cute rustic farmhouse Christmas decor piece for your home or to give somebody as a gift, you can use it all year round. You can just, like I said before, just change the embellishments. And if you have a farmhouse look in your home, these will fit in perfectly. So for them being as inexpensive as they were, with just some scrap pieces or things you have around your home or you can purchase super inexpensive, they can be used all year round and they are so adorable. I had so much fun making these, you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you like videos like this, please consider subscribing and sticking around. I have so much more Christmas DIYs to put out. I am just making things left and right, and I cannot wait to share them with you guys. I hope you hit that subscribe button and stick around because I love having you here and appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you guys have a great day and a good week, and I will see you next time. Bye.